Hello, everyone, and welcome back to CBJ Sports. This is episode 15, and as you can see, we have the whole original OG gang back together, me, Billy, Josh, and CJ. We're going to talk the NBA Finals. We're going to go through some NFL topics, a little MLB as the All-Star game comes closer Tuesday. Today, the Euro Finals are on between England and Italy. I'm currently watching that, but, I mean, sports are almost in a break period because the NBA finals are about to end the NBA season. The NFL's kind of starting to start back up, and the All-Star break for baseball is about to hit. But we're going to start in the NBA and talk just how we feel about the finals. And for me, I think it's 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 living into that thing of when everyone's like, "Oh, the NBA is rigged" and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that the NBA is rigged. It just feels like a storybook almost. Chris Paul is going to get his first ring. Devin Booker's living up to that hype of being a superstar. Monty Williams is the coach that people thought he couldn't be. Mikal Bridges was overlooked for the draft, and now he's playing good. DeAndre Ayton's living up to that lottery pick status. And for me, it's like it feels for the Bucks like it's in that Dame situation. Like, can Giannis win a chip in Milwaukee? So for me, it's like I think the Suns are shocking the world, and it's really good for basketball on my end.
Yeah, it almost feels like the NBA's back to where it was 12, 13 years ago, where going into this playoffs, everybody thought the Nets, but it's good to see different teams in the finals again. Doesn't feel like I'm getting the same storybook I have the past 5, 6 years, and it's good for basketball. It gets
Yeah,
people
which I don't think it's
reinvested.
gonna last either, because I mean, like the Warriors are back next year. The Nets are. The Nets have to win a chip in this little period of time. I think that team's too good.
Yeah, no, I mean I agree. It's just I think right now, at least in this current state of basketball, in my personal opinion, this is the best basketball's been in a long time. For me personally, just going into that anticipation of even going back to the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, who said they were going to see the Hawks take the Bucks to 6 games like they did? Who
Yeah.
said at the beginning of the year the Suns were going to be in the finals, much less a top three seed in the West? And I mean, like I said, it's good for basketball. As much as it does feel like that storybook you were talking about, I do
Yeah.
want to see Chris Paul get that
Before
ring.
Josh or CJ talked, me and CJ had this exact conversation. I don't know. It might have been like 2 weeks ago, whenever the Hawks and Bucks were playing. But it was almost like this. This is good for basketball for like the fans that want to see new teams. But like I think CJ had said, it doesn't bring in the views. It's not gonna make other people that don't watch basketball because it doesn't have LeBron. It doesn't have Steph Curry. It doesn't have that name in the finals this year beside Giannis. Because I love Chris Paul. I don't think Chris Paul's on that level of everyone knowing who he is. But I just want to elaborate before CJ goes.
Yeah, if you just, I don't think anybody expected, like, the Suns were a good team. I don't think they expected, because half of their team is like
Oh,
their
completely shocked.
first playoff experience, and like Devin Booker's averaging 30, DeAndre Ayton shoots 70% from the field in his first playoff experience. It's just crazy. But I was gonna say something about game two. I don't know. I think if the Bucks, like, oh yeah, that's what it was like. All right, game two, Giannis probably, that's probably gonna be his best game in the series, and the
That's one
Suns
of the
just
best
beat
games
him.
in finals history.
Yeah, and and they lost.
Yeah, and
So I don't.
it's like LeBron.
Yeah.
That's a LeBron game.
So I don't know. I think the Bucks will get one game, but Suns will win 4-1. But I don't know. It's gonna be a really good series though. Already is.
I hope so.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's like on it's not on Giannis at all. It's all on the shooters that they put around him. Like Chris Middleton has not shot good in the last 12 games in this playoffs. He's been shooting horrible. He had one good game. Was it game 6 against Atlanta to bring him back. he had a good game. Other than that, he has not been.
Yeah,
shooting.
what was that meme, Billy, you were talking about yesterday whenever it, like, rotates Chris Middleton from average?
It goes like, I was like, Chris Middleton underperforms, gets criticized by media, starts to play or something, then it says prime MJ for a couple games, and then it resets back to playing below average.
But I mean, it's not a complete lie. Literally, Giannis had the greatest game maybe ever in finals history in his first finals run, and it just didn't matter. Like, they just, like, the Suns still look like the way better team in game 2.
I just think people overlook the Suns' defense and how they run their defense.
Well, I think that also attributes to guys like Jay Crowder and Mikal Bridges
Yeah.
who lock up their positions every time, like every game.
Yeah.
But they play such as a team. They play together on the offensive side and defensive side. And they're one of the best teams in the NBA I've seen this year do that. And that's why they're at where they're at. I think a lot of that has to help with Chris Paul coming to the team.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I want to go back, and I've put a lot of hate on Christopher Paul, but that team is literally off of Chris Paul being the leader that he is. And I think this finals run is going to bump him up in that all-time point guard list, because this is, I don't think I've ever seen a point guard do this. Or a leader do this.
I seen a thing the other day. It said Chris Paul took his young core to the finals and LeBron got rid of his young core. I mean, that's kind of true.
Yeah, because I don't think this is Monty Williams. I think this is Chris Paul making adjustments in this final.
Oh, yeah. Which Monty Williams is a really good coach, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was done anyway.
No, I just lost my train of thought.
Good old Cliff Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. The Bucks' problem coming in this series was that they played that drop defense that's what Chris Paul was talking about during the Clippers series, that if you run the pick and roll and if that center drops 5 feet, he just keeps dropping back. That's why he worked on his mid-game range forever. And that's what the Bucks do. That's what hurts them so much.
Imagine that duo for like 2 more years. Chris Paul, one of the greatest passers we've ever seen, one of the smartest players ever. DeAndre Ayton can catch a basketball like from the free throw line and dunk it. Like not like bringing up the Bulls or anything. Pat Williams is the only person all year I saw block DeAndre Ayton. Like, that's just a credit to how good Pat Williams is. But DeAndre Ayton does not get blocked at the rim. Chris Paul can literally throw it anywhere he wants, and it's a dunk. Like, that's free points every possession against the Bucks.
Yeah. And you'll watch it, and you'll just watch Brook
Lopez is just dunking chicken nuggets after he shoots.
He'll float he'll just float in the paint, and it's just a easy mid range for Chris Paul.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone said. I think this finals isn't over yet. I think the Bucks might steal 1 or 2, especially back at home. But this should be a fun ending to a series, and I think Chris Paul is gonna end up getting that first ring. But talking about Chris Paul and the point guards, there's a lot of young guys or guys that aren't locked into a team, and we're going to go around and say what point guard, if signed to the right team, can be a superstar. And I'll let Josh start.
You want me start?
Yeah.
I'll
let you start a lot.
I got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with the Thunder. I like how he plays. I'm trying to find his numbers, what he had this year. Oh, he averaged 23.7 points and 6 assists, shooting 51% from the field.
Yeah,
I think if he
keeps like changing teams, they're going to end up having a Chris Paul point guard tree sooner or later.
Yeah, he played with Chris Paul and learned from him. I think he could be really good somewhere.
Any team you'd like to see him on, or you just want to keep him on the Thunder for a little bit?
This point, we get him Kobe White ready. I mean, I thought we were talking about Chris Paul, not Shai. I'm sorry.
Shade to Philly, baby.
Well, I think Philly. He goes to Philly. I'll put Philly right there.
I like Philly.
All right. I got De'Aaron Fox if he was to go to the Celtics.
I like that one. I like that one.
He's stuck in Sacramento. I just don't like that. I'm a big De'Aaron Fox fan, and I just don't like that. And last year he averaged 25, 3, and 7 on 47%. And I think if he goes somewhere else with another superstar, like I said, Boston, with Jason Tatum play alongside with him, I think they can go really far in the playoffs or make a really good run. They already got a young core there. They got a good bench, and I think that'll be a good fit for him.
Well, moving over, I went with one I feel like's really a possibility this year, and Blake might like it, might not. But I'm a big believer in Lonzo Ball. I really am. I've seen him improve every year. He gets a lot of hate that he doesn't deserve. He got a lot of hate when he came into the league just because who his father was. But I have Lonzo to the Bulls, and it's just a matter of the Bulls really need a perimeter defender. Really need a playmaker that can shoot alongside Zach LaVine. And just that having, I think, Lonzo, Zach, Vooch, Pat Will, all together in the same court could be a really good offensive and getting there on defensive team. And I think that building good players around Lonzo could turn him into a really one of the top point guards in the league when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and with CJ saying De'Aaron Fox, that's kind of why I made this topic. I was watching a De'Aaron Fox highlight tape, and I was like, if he was somewhere else, dude, like he's top 10, top 5 almost point guards in the league.
Yeah.
Like he's fast, can run fast break.
Yeah.
Lonzo was a name that I thought about. I didn't even think about Shea because I figured like he's going to be in OKC for a while, I'm pretty sure. But if he moved, that would be a big thing. But I'm going to talk about something that really could happen, and it's dope that we all have 4 different names. But Devontae Graham in Charlotte. I think Devontae Graham can be a 25 point per game guy. He's a playmaker. He's got all the tools. He proved he can finish when they didn't have LaMelo the year before, and he balled out. And the team that I think is the LA Lakers. I think the Lakers don't have the money for Dame. They don't have the money to re-sign Dennis Schroeder. I think they can take a chance on a young star in Devontae Graham and let him run that point guard, even if he's the backup. I think Devontae Graham can change that team and take the pressure off Bron and AD to take the ball up the court. And I'd love to see Devontae Graham in a Lakers jersey, being able to show what he can do.
As much as I don't like the Lakers,
Yeah,
the other name that came up for me when I was doing this was Devontae Graham, and it'd be scary to see him on the Lakers with a supporting cast.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, Dylan said acknowledge him.
I'm sitting here reading them. You guys are talking at me. I'm just gonna say them.
I like
Man,
it. I like it.
pain.
We got fans in the chat. An argument. Moving on. I was talking about the Lakers. Talking about LeBron. An argument that I've had a lot with LeBron fans is that there wasn't Hall of Fame talent in LeBron's era defensively. And I think the more the time goes by, the more wrong I get with the amount of players that are going to be Hall of Fame defensive guys. And I want to run through my list. I don't know if y'all made a list, but I want to start.
Real quick before we start this, I want to ask, what era? When you say our era, what year are you starting from?
I'm going to give 2 names off of far away and close. I went all the way back to Dwight, Tim Duncan.
Okay, I went back to Dwight.
Now.
So we're good.
Yeah, and I'm just going to list all my names real quick and run it down so I can pass it over. I went Kawhi Leonard, who I think we can all agree is Hall of Fame defensive, one of the greatest defensive players ever. I went Rudy Gobert off of how many Defensive Player of the Year awards he's going to have at center. Draymond Green is one of the greatest defensive leaders we've ever seen. Dwight Howard, in Dwight Howard's main time with LeBron, he was the one name I've always had on that list. I went all the way to Tony Allen as shooting guard. I think is one of the greatest defenders at the 2 ever, and Tim Duncan at power forward because he actually went against LeBron. He's one of the greatest defenders ever. But before, when I had this argument, I only had Dwight Howard because I felt Dwight Howard was the Hall of Fame guy that LeBron played in his prime. But But as we move on, Kawhi, I think Draymond got added to this list. So LeBron's little conversation builds a little bit more of stability with adding more Hall of Fame defensive guys.
I like that. Literally the three first names on my list go Gobert, Draymond, Kawhi. No particular order, but those are like when you think right now in the game today, those have to be the first three names you think of. But going back a little bit, the first name going back in the air, at least for me as a Bulls fan, was Joakim Noah. When I thought about somebody, when I just go back to all those playoffs against LeBron and against all those teams when you needed, I mean, he was third in MVP voting. Can't remember the year, but just
Yeah.
based off his defense, I mean, he was that good. And then I got Dwight Howard, Tony Allen, and then I got some names and question marks that I think, in future-wise, by the time we're done, I guess it really wouldn't be considered our era anymore. But right now they're playing, but they're still young. And I got Giannis, who I think by the end of his career could really. He's already a good defender. He just has to keep playing at that level. One a lot of people don't talk about, but I really like him. I hate him and I like him at the same time. Marcus Smart. I think when I think a dog on the defensive end, that just messes with teams' heads because he's always on the ball, always around, and I just really like Marcus Smart. Drew Holiday will be, I don't know about Hall of Fame, but in his earlier days, he still is, but in his earlier days, that's what he was known for, was his perimeter defense. And then one weird name, maybe definitely not now, because like you said, Duncan Chicken Nuggets, but Brook Lopez, in his prime, was one of the best blockers in the game. And maybe by the end of the career, people go back and be like, wow, he was really something. And yeah, of course, like Tony Allen.
Yeah. Before CJ goes, two names that I wanted to honorable mention. One, a little biased. I think Pat Will is going to be really good defensively, like Kawhi. But Lou Dort, if you have a nickname like the Dorture Chamber, you're going to be pretty good defensively for a very long time. And I think Lou Dort's going to be one of those guys that LeBron plays against for a few more years. That's going to be a Hall of Fame guy later on. But CJ can go.
No, this is pretty much the same. I got Draymond, Rudy, Kawhi, Jakeem Noah, and then Tony Allen. And then the one I have in there is Chris Paul. You really don't see point guards play really good defense.
Heard someone say that.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, you really don't think of like good defensive players at the one or the two. That's why Tony Allen was really good. But like he's a 6-time steal champ. I don't know how many total things he has, but like Gary Payton, like I have so much respect for Gary Payton. He's the only guard to win Defensive Player of the Year, and he's a point guard. And I think that's why Chris Paul is in there. He's been so underrated his whole career defensive wise.
Yeah, I think that's just a not realizing, like, because I mean, when you think Chris Paul, you don't think defense, you think offensive guy, leader. But I'll give it to you, Josh.
Yeah, I think this list is kind of easy. It's like everybody pretty much has the same list. You had like Chris Paul, but I mean, you got Kawhi, you got Draymond, Rudy Gobert is going to have a lot of defensive players of the years by the time he's done. So, I mean, and then if you go back a little further, you got Tony Allen, Dwight. So,
yeah, I think that it was interesting to me because when I argued with LeBron fans, I didn't ever think anyone was going to be Hall of Fame guys beside Dwight. In this era, I didn't think there was going to be that good of defensive players. And it's cool now to look back and see guys like Kawhi get so much better. Rudy Gobert come into the league and take over. But yeah, that was based off of that. But talking about defensive guys.
real quick.
Yeah,
Did anybody say LeBron?
No, we're
No.
talking about guys that LeBron played against.
Okay. MJ's the GOAT then. So
Yeah.
nobody said LeBron.
Yeah, because if we said MJ, we could literally have a list of 100+ players of Hall of Fame defensive guys.
I only have 6 people on this list.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But talking about defensive guys at the center position, at least, how much has DeAndre Ayton grown, and how much has he moved up in the center list? And I'm gonna let CJ start because me and him had this conversation.
All right. He's grown so much. He's developing a jump shot. We're seeing it in the finals and his playoff run they're having. I think by next year he'll have a really good jump shot. But he's definitely moved up in my center list. He's in the top 5. I'll go ahead and read it out. I have Jokic at 1, Joel at 2, Rudy at 3, and then I have Bam. And the only reason, like Billy said, like it's not really, you can talk team, but then we want to have a center list. But just an individual, I get it. There's other centers that average 20 or something more. I'm just seeing too many games, but you got to count this playoff run he's having. You have to. He's breaking records. He's about to tie Bill Russell in field goal percentage. He's almost at 80% from the field in his entire playoff career. This is his first time. He's got too many 20-point games in the playoffs. It's unreal.
CJ, we had this argument last week, and I said the top 5 that we'd have to go through, and we cannot base position rankings on a team status.
Should you not just hear me?
Yes.
I just said he's shooting almost 80% from the field in his first playoff experience.
But did we not also look at the stats between guys like him and Nikola Vucevic, who you didn't? Did you have him on that list? No,
Who?
You had Bam at 5, right?
Yeah, Bam at 5. See, I told Billy that last night. I'm more of an old school center. I don't really like. I don't know. I don't think anybody on this list I have right now can run the floor like DeAndre Ayton can.
When he's done, let me go next.
Yeah, you go.
All right, so first of all, love DeAndre Ayton. Love his game. But I have him at 7. It goes 1 Joker, 2 Joel, 3 Rudy, 4 Cat, 5 Bam, 6 Vooch, 7 Ayton. I love Ayton, but when you put those other names in front of him, right now, individually, statistically, those 6 guys are better. You can put them in whatever order you want, but I think Joker, Joel, and Rudy right there, those are your top 3, no matter how you look at it right now in this very moment in time. Then when you get to the whole Cat, Bam, Vucevic, I think, like I said, 1 through 3 to me is tier 1. 4 through 6 is tier 2 with Cat, Bam, and Vooch. You can really put them in any order, but they're all still really good centers. And I think Ayton is just right behind him. He's knocking on that door to enter that. You can put him in any ranking that you want. And like I said, I love Ayton. Love his game, love everything he does. But as of right now, he has got to be 7 on my list because those 6 guys in front of him are better right now.
See, when me and CJ first had the argument, I gave him Cat because I have the same top 5. I said I don't have Cat. I have DeAndre Ayton above Cat, and see, Bam's where I get confused because I want to put DeAndre Ayton at 5, and that's why in my notes I said DeAndre Ayton's right on the cusp. He's right outside that top 5. I have the same top 3. I have Vooch because he's a 20+%. He's a 40% shooter from 3, and he out-rebounds almost anyone on this list, including the Joker. So, I mean, that speaks for itself, and he's did it for this long, being just as good as Nikola Jokic, except for this year. But Bam is a better playmaker than DeAndre Ayton. He can bring the ball up the court. He's just as good or a little bit better as a shooter. I think Bam Adebayo finishes at the rim. They're literally the same player almost, except he has playmaking. So that's why I think Bam has the edge over DeAndre Ayton for me. But I think DeAndre Ayton's right there. This playoff run's been crazy. I think he's grown, just like Billy and CJ said. I think DeAndre Ayton's going to be really good in a few years. Just not yet. We can't put him in the top 5 just yet. Josh.
I agree with you. I'll put him right there at 5 and 6. Just he could be top 5, he could be 6. Everybody's gonna have a different list, and I think if we ask the world this question, people are gonna have him at 5.
Yeah.
People are gonna have him at 6. So it's more of just what you think and your opinion on your top 5 centers. And personally, I take him in my top 5. I'll put him right at 5. I'll take him over Bam.
Yeah. I think him and Bam are literally the same player. I think that's a very hard discussion to have. But talking about ranking positions, and one of the, I think one of the biggest arguments me and CJ have had in a long time was about James Harden. But I see a lot on Twitter, a lot on CBS Sports ranking him higher than I think he is. But everyone is just going to go from one until they have James Harden. I think that's how this should work, and we can argue after. So everyone do the list, and then we'll have that argument after, and I'll let whoever want to start.
Do we even need to say one?
No, I mean just go one to wherever you have James.
So we're doing 1, 1, 1, 1, not going
Yeah.
straight. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, MJ.
MJ, yeah. CJ,
Everybody, shake your head.
Oh, we're all okay.
Yeah.
MJ.
Wait, what is it? Who do we have above James Harden?
yeah, we're going until we have James Harden.
Yeah.
I know.
So who's the
Oh,
number
so just
one
name
shooting
number
guard?
one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, MJ.
two
My
for me.
Oh, Reggie Miller.
Two for me is Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, it's Bean.
No, it's Kobe.
Kobe.
Three for me is Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, it's Wade. I mean,
Okay,
Wade.
CJ, don't.
Chad.
No,
CJ, don't.
listen. I know we argued about it in the past, but I think Harden really needs to get a ring before he moves anywhere.
Yeah.
So I have D Wade at 3.
See, this is where I had a long look in the mirror, and I can't. 4 is Klay Thompson, the greatest shooter ever.
Wow. I had Clay at 6. And it's where I also had a long look in the mirror because I don't like Harden. But I had to face the facts of the stats he's put up and the MVP he has. And I have Harden at 4.
CJ,
I got Harden at 4. I think having that MVP is really good, and I think by the end of his career, he's going to be top 10, one of the best pure scorers ever. I think he's the best ISO player ever.
Josh.
Clay. I've always taken Clay over Harden.
So it's down to me and Josh to see where he lands. And 5 for me is James Harden, and 6 was Clyde Drexler. I think James Harden's a better ISO than Drex. He played in a more scoring efficient era. I think James Harden is good. He's not the shooter I think Klay Thompson is, and he hasn't done it in the big moments like Klay Thompson has when his team needs him. And that's why the separation between Klay and James was so close.
I'll put Harden at 5 right there. I wouldn't. I don't know. It depends what area you're playing. I mean, yeah, we're just talking all the time here, but because Harden, I mean, yeah, last year or two defensively, he's definitely stepped up. But prior to last year or two, no defense.
Yeah, I want to see why Billy and CJ put James above Klay.
For me, it was just going through the stats. Yeah, it was just what really brought it together for me, because it was close. That 4 through 6 was Harden, Drex, Clay, and it's all right there together. But what really brought it together for me, I was just going back, looking through old things from a couple of years ago, and I looked at that stretch that Harden had, where he had 30, 20, 30, how many ever games it was with 40-plus points in a row. And it just blew my mind to think, granted, he was probably the only player on the team that could do it, because nobody else on that Houston team was really sitting there doing that. But it just comes down to how crazy it is that defenders will probably know what he's about to do, but it doesn't matter. He, to me, is, like CJ said, best ISO player I've ever seen play. And it's nothing against Klay. I absolutely love Klay Thompson, but I think Harden, talent-wise, and
Who do you have at 5? Dylan and Zach want to know who you got at 5.
me,
Yeah.
I have Drex.
Yeah, Clyde.
So you got Drex over Clay?
Yeah.
Like I said, it's really close. It's all right there together.
I think
Oh,
what-
God. I think it's
Holy-
worse than having James over Klay.
I think once Harden gets that ring, there's no debate if Clay's over him, because Harden has an MVP, and he's one of the only 3 players to average. He's averaged 36 points in one season. That was his MVP season. I think not having that MVP or that MVP, that's what hurts Clay. And I think Harden's got more All Stars. He's a 3-time scoring champ. Clay I get it. Clay has 3 rings, but yeah, I mean, tell Curry to go to Brooklyn.
But Clay's
Yeah,
also got the
yeah.
greatest shooter next to him and still putting up points.
That has to be
Yeah, I know that.
included because Clay has 60-point games in the biggest games of series in the playoffs. I said he's the greatest shooter, I think, at the 2 ever. Greatest shooter beyond the arc ever at the 2. Ray Allen can be behind him, whatever. I don't care. But he is the greatest shooter ever in the history of basketball right beside him. So how is he supposed – I mean, yes, he can get an MVP if, like, he really pops off or Steph Curry got hurt or something. But we also have to realize, like, Klay Thompson's not done yet. Like, he's coming back next year, and he's going to average 25 like he always does. He's going to be right back to where he was. And he has the rings, and he does it in the big moments.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's not that 4 through 6 is right there together. I'm not saying there's no big gap in that rankings. It's just right now, individual talent-wise, statistically, I have to go with James at 4.
I mean, I agree. I think I sat there forever deciding if I want to put James or Klay over each other.
And, like, I think Ray Allen or Reggie Miller those 2 are my greatest shooters. I don't count Curry because he's still playing. I mean, we can, but those are my top 3 is Reggie Miller and Ray Allen. That's one reason why I wouldn't put him over him.
Someone look up James Harden's career 3-point percentage.
Dude, I'm not getting into this where we go over the smallest stat.
I already got it pulled up.
48.
No, I'm kidding.
I was saying, God dog.
Don't make jokes like that.
Klay Thompson career 3-point percentage. I should want to see this.
See, but this is where having Curry helps, though.
Yeah, I mean, Clay's the better shooter. What the heck? Why would you debate this? But I don't think Clay's dropping 50-point triple doubles like Harden is.
But
I think Harden's a better
that's
playmaker.
based off the team. Like that can't be held against Klay Thompson.
Yeah, I know that, but
because Klay can do that. He's shown us he can.
What was his 3-point percentage?
For his career? 37%.
37. Clay's is 42.
Which that's about average for the NBA.
Yeah.
It's right around there.
I mean, I think this is a very close conversation. I think the argument's going to grow because James Harden has about 10 more years left, and Klay Thompson staying healthy. Both of them, honestly, they're both going to have a long time in the NBA, especially as spot up shooters. What?
No, it's like Clay's averaging 19 for his career, and Harden's almost averaging 30. I just can't put that over anybody.
All right, go throw Klay on the old Houston team when it was just Harden.
And Clay's averaging
see how much
32.
he's averaging for his career.
Yeah, I think that's a team.
Okay,
that's a team.
Then leave.
Why would you leave if you're getting chips?
All right, but it just defeats the point.
Because this debate right here.
Yeah, CBJ in the debate, so I'm leaving and going to Sacramento. Klay Thompson to Sacramento inbound. Moving on to baseball. All-Star break is coming up. We haven't had a baseball topic in about 2 weeks, I think, maybe even 3. But the All-Star break is coming up, so I wanted to talk a little bit at least. And the first thing is DeGrom going to have the greatest season ever by a pitcher, and I want to start it because I have 2 seasons that I think are better than Jacob DeGrom. Why are you waving, Billy?
I want to go 5.
Yeah, whatever, Billy. You go first.
Yes. I already know one of the seasons you're going to say because I have DeGrom second. And this was one of the topics I put probably the most research into. And to me, the greatest season of all time is Bob Gibson. And I don't think it's, honestly, other than ERA, I don't think it's close. You go to Bob Gibson, 1968 season. In today's MLB, most pitchers are lucky, or it's considered good if they hit 200 innings. That's considered a workhorse. Well, in 1968, Bob Gibson had a 1.12 ERA on over 300 innings. You compare that amount of innings to that ERA, that is just absurd. He had 28 complete games, 13 of them were shutouts, 268 strikeouts. Not to mention, after this year in the MLB season, they had to lower the mound because Bob Gibson was that good.
Yeah.
Just because of Bob Gibson. And when you go and compare that to DeGrom's, granted, it's not DeGrom's fault. They don't get to throw more complete games now. They have pitch limits with all the
How
analytical.
much does innings matter? Because back then you're probably pitching every other day. But
No,
unlike
it's still
now,
they still had about, I think,
Yeah, but I said they still had a rotation.
yeah, they
yeah,
still
but
had
it's probably quicker than nowadays.
Yeah. I mean,
Way quicker.
doctors and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, but still, I that's why I said I don't want to put too much emphasis on innings, but
Yeah. I
when
think
you literally get the rules changed because of you, that's enough for me. Also won the Gold Glove that year.
yeah, I want to agree, but like a lot of people are going to argue the era and everything modern day baseball. DeGrom, yes, is having one of the greatest seasons ever. I think it's going to go down top 3. The only other one that would come close, and it's in a closer era and decade, is Tom Seaver. I think it was 1971. It was. He went 20-10 and had a 1.76 ERA. I think ERA is what's going to make this season so good for DeGrom. It's not how good the Mets are or how many wins he gets. It's that ERA. If DeGrom can stay under 1, then DeGrom's going to have the greatest season ever by a pitcher because no one's ever done that. I think that's the only shot DeGrom has of having the greatest season ever.
I think you said that right. Nobody's ever had an ERA below 1. So I think if he accomplishes that, don't matter how many innings you pitched,
Yeah.
I think he gets that title of
Yeah.
greatest season by a pitcher.
Yeah, I do too. I think he'll win the MVP.
I thought he was
and
just going to be.
sign-
Yeah, I do too.
No, I have DeGrom because I think he will go under a 1, and he's holding his opposing team hitters to an average of 126, which is really good, and he's acting like he's Big Poppy out there too. He's just hitting the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to put Pedro in that conversation, but none of his ERAs matched up to DeGrom. So I was like, well, not putting Pedro in this topic. But I think DeGrom's going to have, I think he's going to be good for a very long time. I think this All-Star game is going to be very fun with DeGrom pitching against the greatest hitters in baseball. I think it's going to be exciting. Moving on to something that's going to be even more exciting. Shohei Ohtani debuts in the home run derby, and this home run derby is stacked. It's got a bunch of
At
big name
Coors Field.
guys. Yeah, at Coors Field where the ball's going to travel. And I just want to go through and see who do y'all think is going to win it, and I'll let CJ start this time.
I have a Derek Jeter. No.
Let's go.
I got Shohei and Gallo in the finals, and I have Shohei winning it in his debut.
Like it. Billy?
Okay. I love
Okay.
Shohei, but I don't have him in the finals. When I was going through looking at the bracket, I have Gallo from the other side, and I have Pete Alonso beating Shohei in the second round because it's Pete Alonso. I mean, he's already won it once. He knows what it's like. And just the pure power. But I have Gallo winning just because, I mean, pure power. He could probably go for those 4 minutes and hit 20-something home runs easily.
Josh?
Yeah, home run derby is always weird. It's never the big guys. I mean, sometimes it is, but it's usually like you see an underdog in there, it comes in, wins it more often than not. And I'm going to go home field advantage, Trevor Story. I think
like it.
he knows how to hit in that stadium. So
That's completely facts. And I went with one side that was the same as Billy. I went with Joey Gallo from the one bracket. But I'm going to go with another underdog, as Josh said. I think Salvador Perez is a very powerful popper kind of hitter. And if he gets on a roll, Salvador Perez is going to upset Shohei Ohtani in that first round. And if Salvador Perez gets rolling, it's going to be a scary night because that's a catcher. He can rotate those hips and get rolling. And I have
I think
Perez.
he's just.
What?
I think he's too old.
Dude,
I don't think
you
he's.
can say
Yeah,
that, but this year
I don't
he's
think
been
he's gonna.
hitting
Yeah,
dingers.
yeah, but I don't think he's gonna have like. I get it. Like the home run derby is way different than like hitting the ball in the game because you're taking probably what 50, maybe to 100 swing. I mean, all back to back to back. I just think he's gonna be too sore. He's old.
I think Salvador
Man,
Perez is still
that boy got
got it.
arthritis. God
I think
dog.
Salvador Perez is going to beat Joey Gallo in the finals. And I have big old Salvi Perez at catcher winning the home run derby against Shohei in the debut.
I was
Shohei plays Sato in the first round.
Oh, he does? Is it Juan Soto? Who's
1-8,
Salvi?
1-8. So
That-
4 plays 5, and
That's what it was. Juan Soto
2-7
would
and
be dope to
3-6.
see win too. The young guy in Juan Soto. But
Pete
But,
Alonso.
I was gonna ask, when was the last time we saw a catcher in the home run derby? And then I remembered Gary Sanchez was in it like 2-3 years ago. So
18 or 17 is one in Miami.
speaking, that was a good move, Billy. Gary Sanchez. Speaking of Yankees, the Yankees Red Sox rivalry. I want to go just kind of an open topic. I'll start it off of why the rivalry hasn't been exciting or seemed fun in the last, I don't want to say couple years because it was really good in 18. But since that Joe Kelly fight, why is it fallen off? And
real quick,
what?
I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm not saying a word on this topic. This is for you three.
Okay.
This
well,
is
I'm
yours
gonna-
at heart.
I want to start it off. And the first thing I want to say is my argument is not that the Yankees are bad. That is not an argument because they are not a bad team. I think both teams have been really, I mean, if anything, the Red Sox have been worse before this year. So it's not the competition. Both teams are good enough to win baseball games. I think it's the players. The Yankees players are younger guys, and if anything, they hate the Astros more than they hate the Red Sox because of the cheating and the scandal. And the Red Sox players are all new from the Mookie trade or guys that are traded in, so we don't have a correlation to the rivalry unless you're like Rafael Devers. Guys, Xander have played there since like the World Series when we played the Yankees and all that. But guys like Verdugo, Hunter Renfroe, the pitchers, like they don't have that chippiness, and there's nothing to make anyone mad unless something else happens in the next year or they play in a big series or something.
Yeah, Yankees are signing Trevor Bauer, so that will help bring it back up.
Always got to sign someone. Man.
No, it's
Nah,
definitely the
I got-
players. Like you said, I think everybody, especially this year, I think all rivalries kind of settled down, and it's all on that.
CJ had to,
all on the
CJ had to
Astros
make
now.
sure he called that one out because we got him last week. Rivalries.
Yeah,
go,
I'm literally in my notes. I have FU Astros. I think if you just like if you were to go to a Yankees game or just talk to any Yankees players, like that, literally, like you would have. I told you this or whoever the other day. Like the Yankees probably would have won the World Series if the Astros wouldn't have cheated.
They would definitely been in it.
They would have been in it back to back years, and I think that means more to like the Red Sox rivalry is huge, but like we haven't won since Derek Jeter and A-Rod.
Yeah.
And I think that like it's just not right for the game of
Yeah,
baseball. I
and,
think
like-
that's why they're so mad.
A lot of bad Red Sox fans would be like, "Oh, it's because we're 4-0. We don't lose to the Yankees anymore." It's not that. I think the Yankees are a good baseball team. I just think the new guys, like Josh and me said, like the players don't match up. They don't have any bad blood. So I mean, I think
Yeah.
unless something
think-
happens, you can go. But
Well, yeah. Well, now Jose Altuve is best friends with Aaron Judge too.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I think the Red Sox and Yankees come together in a hatred of the Astros. I think
And
that-
it's all new coaches. The Yankees
Yeah.
get rid of what's his
I
name?
mean, we still
Yeah.
have Cora,
That
so
we've
I mean,
had
you could just
forever.
hate us for Cora, but
Joe Girardi,
yeah,
Yeah.
Joe Girardi is
So,
one
baby,
old
Aaron
son
Boone
of a
now.
gun.
which we have Aaron Boone. He played for the Yankees. So
I hate Aaron Boone. But yeah, that's another discussion for
Yeah,
another
it's a whole nother discussion.
Moving on to the NFL, I think it's getting more exciting. Training camp is about to start. Preseason's coming faster than we think. The rookies are getting time to get some practice in. But I want to start. I saw a bunch of different polls this week between some very weird players, and I want to go through. And we have new segments every single week. You can comment in Twitch or on our post if you want to see a topic that will get featured on here. But I have a pick a player segment, and we're going to go through each position on the offense and have a pick a player, and we're going to go through and pick them. Starting at the quarterback position, I'll let Billy start. Carson Wentz versus Justin Herbert, and we'll go Billy, CJ, Josh, me.
One word, Herbert. I mean, I love Carson Wentz, but it's just not close right now.
CJ.
Yeah, I gotta find it. I got Herbert.
Were we basing
I think
off of what
I
we
think
think they're gonna do
eventually-
this year,
Just-
or what they're doing right now?
I think you can go off anything.
I was going
Anything?
off last year.
In my notes, I think Herbert's ceiling. I know Carson's a little bit older than him, but I think Herbert's ceiling is really high, and I think he'll have a shot to be a top 5 quarterback in the league for forever.
What I based this off of was last year and just their pure individual talent, taking out the whole team aspect entirely.
So you went off last year, but you said based off. If we're based off last year, yeah, you go Herbert. But I think if you ask me about this upcoming season, who thinks they have a better season? I think Carson Wentz has the potential to be back in his MVP season. So
I'm gonna stick with the other two sides of this screen right now. I win Justin Herbert just off talent. I think he's a better thrower. I think he's more athletic. I think Justin Herbert, to me, is just the better quarterback overall. I love Carson Wentz. I want to see him do good, but literally, I just said in my notes, Herbert, more talent. That's all I have. I think he can hit throws that Carson can't. But yeah, that'll wrap up the quarterbacks. Running backs is a conversation that I even talked to CJ yesterday. Nick Chubb or Dalvin Cook, and I'll go backwards. I'll go Josh, CJ, Billy, and me. So Josh, you go.
I'm gonna go. This one's kind of.
Close.
I think this one's easy. Nah, people. Yeah, this might be close stats wise, but I think if you base off who had the better offensive line, obviously Nick Chubb with all the Pro Bowlers and all pros they had, you have to go Dalvin Cook.
CJ?
I went with Devin Cook also. That was a big part, but I think this question, I think just the running backs, just them two, and I think Dalvin Cook's more versatile. He can receive the ball way better than Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb can too, but Dalvin Cook's quicker. He's more shifty, and that's why I took him. And he's still putting up the same yards.
Well, now, going back to what Josh said with having the offensive lines and everything, for me, it's a matter of, it's going to sound a little backwards and weird, but if I put Dalvin Cook in Nick Chubb's position, do I think Dalvin Cook would do better than Nick Chubb? And I think, yes, I really like Dalvin Cook's games. And at time last year, not saying all the time, no Kirk Cousins slander, Blake, but Dalvin Cook put that team on his back at times, doing everything just out of the backfield, receiving, running. I mean, he would have 100 plus on both sides of the ball, receiving and rushing. So I got to go with Dalvin.
I think what stuck with me is that the year before he did not play towards ACL, and then he comes back and he just just straight Pro Bowl. I mean, you usually don't see that.
Okay. See, I think Billy even knows. I know Zach watching knows. I've been a fan of Dalvin Cook since he was at Florida State. I think he's one of the most versatile backs that the league has beside Christian McCaffrey. So this was a very hard thing to do. I went Nick Chubb off consistency. Nick Chubb is 1,000-yard rusher every single year. He's going to be 1,000-yard rusher every single year. He's just as good running through the tackles. He's got breakaway speed. Nick Chubb is an every down NFL running back, and he is every single game for the Cleveland Browns. See, I can't say that for Dalvin Cook every single game. Sometimes Dalvin's there, and sometimes Dalvin's not. But I know every game for the Cleveland Browns that Nick Chubb's going to be that guy with 100 yards, and he's going to be that guy to help the Browns win that football game every single week, in and out, no matter what.
But I
Yes,
think-
Dalvin Cook is – you can go.
I think another thing is like, say Nick Chubb don't have a good game, but like he's got Kareem Hunt to rely on. Who does Dalvin Cook have to rely on?
But, I mean, that's a team thing. I'm not putting
Yeah,
I think
Oh
Nick-
yeah, I know that. I'm just saying.
I think if you're going off player, I think you have to go, not based off anybody else, you have to go Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook has he's way more versatile, and Dalvin Cook does not have the O-line that Cleveland has to help with this consistency.
I mean, we're not going to act like Minnesota's offensive line's bad.
We're not gonna act like it's
Cleveland's
Cleveland's.
better.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, I'm not.
talk
I'm,
O-line,
that's
you
not,
talk
that's
Cleveland.
not. We're not. Minnesota's Vikings offensive line is very
I'm not
good.
saying
And
they're
it's been
bad.
very good for a long time.
But it's not
Dalvin's
Cleveland's.
not running behind that Giants O line. He's running behind a pretty good one. I think, but I'll give Dalvin the versatility. I just think Nick Chubb's a better every down back. I just think if I'm going to win a football game and I know I'm running it 40 times, I want Nick Chubb over Dalvin Cook because I know I'm not counting the injuries against him. I know Nick Chubb's going to stay healthy. I know. Don't give me the Georgia talk. Yes, he's been hurt, but I know Nick Chubb's going to stay healthy. He's been healthy since he's been in the NFL, since he left Georgia. But he's going to run through that tackle harder than Dalvin Cook. Yes, he's not as fast. He can shift and make juke moves just as good as Dalvin Cook. He's just very underrated in the way he runs the football, and he's never mentioned in that top category of running backs, and Nick Chubb should every single time. That's why I had to do it, because Nick
Yeah.
Chubb's not ever mentioned.
I think that's what just sticks with me. Like Dalvin's first 2 years, he was injured, like at torn ACL, and did he tear it twice? I don't know what the other one was. But then he comes back and has a 1,200-yard season, and this past season with almost a 1,600-yard season. That just
Yeah.
blows my mind.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think both of them are very good running backs, and that's why this was fun. Moving on to wide receiver. I don't want to hear one of these names out of any of your mouths, but Allen Robinson or Tyreek Hill, and I'm going to mix up and go CJ Josh, me, Billy. CJ.
Tyreek Hill. And the reason why I have Tyreek Hill is where'd it go? I think you can put him in any system, and it just completely opens up your offense in any way you want to use him. I think that's why he should be the answer.
Putting this on you, but Blake said, what podcast was it? I can't remember. Blake said in the podcast, Tyreek Hill is special because Mahomes, he said, is the only QB in the NFL that can throw to Tyreek Hill. And that's what makes Tyreek Hill so good. Didn't you say that, Blake?
Yeah.
So I don't think he can be put in any system and do as good. But I think you can put Allen Robinson in any system. And he's going to be your number one receiver.
I want to completely agree with that. And my notes literally say Allen Robinson is an all-around receiver. The only category Tyreek Hill beats him at is speed. Allen Robinson is a go-get-it guy. He's a better route runner. He's just stuck in Chicago. Can we agree on?
Sorry,
He's
Zach.
literally just stuck in Chicago. Allen Robinson's a very good wide receiver. He deserves his money. I think he's leaps and bounds a better receiver than Tyreek Hill. Billy.
Well, I actually, when me and CJ were taking notes last night, I told him, I said, Allen Robinson is 100% the most underrated receiver in the NFL. It's not even close.
Besides DJ Moore, but yeah.
Okay, shut up. But I love Allen Robinson's game. And I think for me, it just came down to Tyreek Hill's in the most perfect situation you could possibly be in. And I said I wasn't going to base it off team, but it's kind of hard to when you think about Tyreek Hill. Because, like you said, Blake, I do think that Mahomes is the only quarterback that can throw to him. But, man, it's just, it would be interesting to see him in another offense, see what he can do. But based off of right now,
Might be soon. His contract runs up this year, don't it?
Yeah, but they're going to pay him.
Nah, he's out.
You got Travis
No,
Kelce to
they
pay. They just
they got
paid
no-
Mahomes so much.
They got
You
no
got
room.
Paying the O-line now.
Chris
They just
Jones
I
got
don't know if they'll
paid.
be able to.
Yeah,
Chris Jones got paid.
big
I
time.
don't. Tyreek's not
Same.
taking a small paycheck. Tyreek
Yeah,
Hill's
you
been
have to
at
pay
the
that
top
man.
of the yardage wise, so I think we're gonna see him somewhere else coming next year.
I just think like speed has to matter. I've seen too many times where it's a 5-yard drag route and he just takes it to the crib. Like it's crazy.
But there's
And
just
that's all
so
he's
many
got,
things
dude.
about being
Going
a
back-
receiver.
Going back to the playoff game, Patrick Mahomes didn't even play.
Who's
their
the better
backup
route runner?
quarterback? Tyreek Hill. He's way better. Come on, don't even start this. If you tell me Allen Robinson's a better route runner than
Allen Robinson
Tyreek
is a
Hill,
way
you're
better
crazy.
route runner. Way better
Who's-
route runner.
No, I'm gonna look this up then.
Tyreek is just—he's the fastest
Tyreek
player in the NFL.
yeah, he
Nobody's
runs a
keeping up
curl
with
route
him.
and he's the
So
first one
he's gonna be
there.
open. But it doesn't mean that doesn't make him a good route runner just because he runs
Is a
big
vertical a route?
circle.
Does that count? Is a vertical route? That's a pretty good route.
And I
I'm saying,
think
not
Allen
saying he's a
Robinson.
bad
Allen
route runner.
Yeah,
but
he's
Allen
not
Robinson,
bad.
Allen Robinson is a top tier receiver that is so underrated because he's stuck in Chicago.
Allen
I think
Robinson
Allen
reminds me
Robinson's
of
been in the
Devontae.
league longer, and Tyreek Hill. I get it, he has Patrick Mahomes, but he's probably already passed him in every stat there is.
Allen Robinson reminds me of Devontae Adams. A lot of Devontae Adams. It's just no one's going to compare him to Devontae because he's not getting the touches Devontae Adams is going to get either.
He's fine.
What are you trying to find here? Must be hard to find if it's not true.
Nah, I can't. I don't know what the
Billy, who's you say?
abbreviation is.
I'm going with Tyreek, but it's not by a lot. It's just because I cannot go with I cannot go with Allen because the situation he's in.
And Tyreek Hill almost he had
We
You
can't-
can't blame it him.
Yeah.
Think of the situation he's in. He's still putting over 1,000 yards.
The name of the segment is Pick a Player.
Tyreek Hill had 500 yards after catch this season.
That's cool, dude. He's fast. We all know that. That is not a question.
That's not. Yeah.
Not a question. He's
All right.
outrunning it.
Well. His separation is 12 yards.
All right. Besides speed, what is Tyreek gonna do? Can we throw it up high and can he go up and get it? No.
Route runner.
Is Allen Robinson gonna do it? Yeah. Allen Robinson's a better route runner. Who's gonna break a tackle first? Allen Robinson. I mean, Allen Robinson is better except for speed.
CJ, are you disagreeing with him that Allen Robinson's not breaking a tackle? Allen Robinson's
No.
way bigger than Tyreek Hill.
No, he said he's gonna do it better than Tyreek Hill. That's what you what?
Dude,
That's
Tyreek
what I'm
Hill gets
saying.
hit by Darius
Hold up,
Leonard,
I
he's
know how to
dead.
decide this. I'll
Nobody's
be right back.
catching Tyreek Hill. That's why you have to take him. Where's Billy going?
Holy shit.
Trying to figure out if Allen Robinson's gonna be on his 10th team or not.
Where did he go?
So he's gonna settle this. I don't know what he meant by that.
Oh, I'm scared. Oh, well, we can't go to the tight end one until Billy comes back, guys. So, We're gonna wait.
Or Allen Robinson, Tyreek talk.
yeah, everyone's spamming the chat. Answer this question for us. Tyreek
Yeah.
Hill or Allen Robinson and why?
I'm
gonna give y'all-
Who are you?
Allen
Yeah,
Robinson
like,
in
Guys,
2017
important
played
news,
16
important
games
news,
and had
important
17
news.
yards.
Important
Okay.
news. My dad's a Bears
kidding.
fan. He said Tyreek Hill.
Oh, there you go. We heard it. All right, tight end.
I hate
Here we go.
all of you.
No.
I hate all of you. Moving on to tight end, Darren Waller or Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz. I'm going to start it, then I'll go Billy, CJ, Josh. I went Waller, and it's almost like how CJ just based off his Tyreek Hill debate. I think Waller's just a better receiver, but I think he's so much of a better receiver that Darren Waller has to be the better tight end. I think he's faster than Ertz. I think he's a better route runner. I think Darren Waller's not as good of a blocker or run tight end, but Darren Waller's such a better passing game tight end that I have to go Waller.
Yeah, I just think the strengths make up for Waller's weaknesses. And against Zach Ertz, where I think Zach Ertz, I don't think he's amazing at anything, but he's not bad at anything either.
He's
just
very good
all
at a
around.
lot.
Yeah, but it's that superstar receiving talent from Waller that just overpowers it all. And I got to go Waller.
Yeah, I went with Waller too.
I
Y'all
like Zach
basically already
Ertz.
explained it all.
Mainly not because there's talk about him going to Buffalo, but But I think as a tight end, what makes Rob Gronkowski the greatest tight end?
Red zone threat. You
No,
guys.
I've
He's a
had
red
that
zone threat,
argument with y'all.
and
We're
he
not
can
having-
block. And he can block.
Not
You
having
got to
that.
be able to block at the tight end position. You have to. And Waller is, I think, way off from Zach Ertz on that. You're talking Darren Waller's way better passing game, but Zach Ertz is way better blocking game. So I think it's closer to what you guys are saying. I'm not saying that Zach Ertz by a mile. I think it's very
Zach
close.
Ertz is still a great receiving talent.
Yeah.
Did we not watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think Zach Ertz is
I know
a
he
good
is.
receiver.
I think he's a good receiver too, but I think because he's got the better run game, I'm taking Zach Ertz because you have to be able to block. I think
we're not gonna act like Darren Waller just can't block.
I'm not saying he can't, but Zach Ertz
for the
can.
Oakland Raiders.
But Zach Ertz can.
I think like you said, it's closer,
It's closer
than I
to
made
what
it
you guys
seem.
were saying. Yeah.
Than what I made it seem to be. But I took Darren Waller just like how CJ took Tyreek Hill off of what he wants a receiver. That's what I want in a tight end. Moving on to the defensive side of the football, but we're going to keep it young. Next gen takeover at defensive positions. And we're going to go DN, defensive tackle, 1 linebacker, 1 corner, 1 safety.
Age cap is 26 and under.
Age cap is 26, and you get 1 name. I'm going to start it off at DN, and we can go Josh, CJ, Billy. I'm going to go with hometown kid. I think Brian Burns is the best defensive end under 26. I think he's got the highest potential, the best moves at the DM position. And when it's going to be crazy whenever he gets to show the NFL what he can do, because he did it last year, and he had the highest win rate as a defensive end in all of football, not even just the cap of 26. So that's why I had to take Brian Burns.
Yeah, didn't go with Brian Burns, but the main name that when I was going through this, I saw and I thought of defensive end terror at that position. It had to be Myles Garrett for me. I love Myles Garrett's game. Just feels like he's always in the backfield. He reads the run so well at his end position. To me, he's the most complete defensive end in football right now. And that's me not counting Aaron Donald as a D end.
And before CJ and them go, I realized while doing this that the NFL is very young superstar wise. If I'm being honest. CJ, you can go.
I got Joey Bosa. I'm a huge Joey Bosa fan. I think he's one of those people where he don't like take breaks. He wants to play every snap of the game. And I think that's why I like him that much.
Josh.
Yeah, this one's hard because you can go Joey Bosa. I think you can go Myles Garrett, like you said, he is complete. But I like Brian Burns. I mean, Brian Burns got snubbed of a Pro Bowl last year, right? He didn't get in. I really love Brian Burns.
Yeah.
Brian Burns.
As you can tell with the jerseys behind me, I completely agree with that take. But moving on to defensive tackle, and I want to be honest, the first name that came to my head when I made that was Eddie Oliver in Buffalo as a young guy. But I started looking at ages and guys that are superstars. And I got to go Kenny Clark in Green Bay. He's been a terror. He's been a superstar at the defensive tackle position forever. Kenny Clark has proven. I had to go with him. He's right at that 26 mark.
Yeah, when I was going through this, I was going through the ages, and I looked up Kenny Clark, and I'm like, how is this man not 30 yet? Feels like he's been in the league forever. And I went with Kenny Clark. He's just like you said, he's that guy you can line up in that one technique or right over the center if you want to, and he's going to stuff a gap and play a defensive tackle every down of the game.
Yeah, I think there's really 2 big names here. And me and Billy talked about last night. I could take Kenny Clark, but I'm going to go Vita Vitae. I think he just makes teams so much like one-dimensional. Like he just stuffs the run. And when you make one teams one-dimensional, you win football games that way. And that's why I took him.
Yeah, and he can play running back. So I mean. Yes.
When I took my notes, this guy was 26.
His birthday was today. I'm screwed.
Chris Jones literally just turned 27.
Really?
We'll give it to
He turned 27 July 3rd. So, I mean, he literally just turned
Yeah,
27.
I give it to you.
you.
Yeah, Chris Jones is definitely a superstar. Moving on to linebacker, and for me, it's gonna hurt if you say any other name than one. You know who mine is. I think he's the best linebacker already in the NFL. Not having an age cap, I think this name would be there if we didn't have one. I think Darius Leonard's the best linebacker in football. He's complete. He's the closest to Luke Kuechly I've watched in the football world since Kuechly left. He's a leader. He's fast. He can play pass coverage. He can blitz. Darius Leonard has to be the name here.
It's not my name.
Yeah, it's not my name.
God,
Because
disappointment, man.
Because when I went through this,
I
I
went-
said the first name I said to CJ was Darius Leonard. And then I went to go into some statistics, and there was a man that was second among all defensive players. That's counting corners and safeties in coverage. He's 24 years old. He plays the run really well. Like I said, he is the best pass coverage linebacker in the NFL, and I went Fred Warner. I just think he is a superstar already and has room to grow and get even better than he already is.
Is
Say
this more of
something,
a,
Blake.
is this more
That's
of
a
a
really good one.
prediction? Like who we think could take over?
No. It's not a prediction with these young linebackers. Because if CJ says the name I think he's going to say, the young
You have to,
linebacking
though.
core, the young linebacking core, the three names that we're about to say are all top 5 linebackers in the NFL right now. Like,
Yeah.
these aren't potential. They're there already. I think I know who CJ's about to say. Go.
You can't be mad about that one.
Yeah, I know. Hey, he's good.
He's
Say it,
great.
Josh.
Oh, did Josh already go?
No,
I
you
want
haven't
what I
went.
want to say.
Oh, my bad. I'm going with Devin White. all
Yeah,
day
that's
long
exactly what I
with
thought
the
you were gonna
Bucks. I mean, he runs the field side to side like he rides his horses. I mean,
Whoa.
dude's an animal, dude. He's a really good blitzer. He runs a 4.4 at linebacker. You just
Yeah.
don't see that.
He's good.
Tremaine runs a 4.4. That's
Boy
what I was
St.
thinking.
Louis
Potential. Like Tremaine could be potentially one of the. He's just so young and don't know how to control his speed. He's probably the fastest linebacker in the NFL, and nobody really knows that. And he's 6'5", 6'6", however big he is. That's why it's like if we're talking potential, like Tremaine's still learning. He's gotten way better every single season. That's why, like, if we're talking potential, I was gonna go Tremaine. Since we're talking now, I think you have to go. You good, Billy?
Yeah.
I mean, your mic volume is super high. I don't know how to do that. You barely
You
touched it.
didn't tell me this.
But I think you have to go Darius Leonard. I love Darius Leonard, and he's there. He's already a top linebacker.
I
think-
almost went with Tremaine Edmonds just because. I mean,
If you would have said Jermaine Edmonds, we'd had a problem.
well,
man.
he does have more Pro Bowls than anybody.
I was waiting because I was like, Devin White, I'll give because he's there. Devin White's
No,
there.
he is. He's already there.
I think Josh Allen in Jacksonville is another name that could have been brought into this discussion. I think Josh Allen's really good. Did I say Buffalo? I meant Jacksonville.
You said Jacksonville.
No, like he plays DN though. He's not a linebacker.
He plays outside linebacker. He does. He's
I think
like the
he's like
tight
Brian
end.
Burns. He's like Brian Burns though. He's listed as a DN now.
Yeah. I would put Josh Allen as a linebacker. Came out of this draft as a linebacker. I think he could be really good. But moving on to corner, this is going to be a very exciting one because I think I know who Billy's going to say. I want to start it off because I want to let Billy get mad at me. I was shocked when this name was at the age limit. J.C. Jackson had 9 picks last year and could have won Defensive Player of the Year.
That's not the name I was expecting.
J.C. Jackson is very, very good in one-on-one. We saw what they did to Stephon Gilmore this year, and Stephon Gilmore had not a good year this year. J.C. Jackson was thrown at all year against the number 2s. He proved every single game that he was able to fight against number 2 receivers. Yes, he didn't go against number 1s, but he got the 9 picks that was needed to prove himself. He can be the number 1 corner.
You know who did go against number 1s? Tre'Davious White.
Shut
How
up.
old was Tre'Davious White?
Hey, Blake.
26.
Hey, Blake.
Okay.
Hey, Blake.
I went
Jalen
JC
Ramsey's
off.
26.
Stop.
Who's 26?
Blake,
Yeah,
you're
Jalen
so
Ramsey's
dumb.
26.
Yeah, but
Stop.
most of the corners right now are young, dude.
Stop.
He
Blake
didn't go
looks
with
like
Yeah, I
Jalen.
didn't even
Jalen.
look it
I
up
was-
because
I
I
was
did not
supposed.
think he
I
was
was
26.
so
You're
expecting
talking about number
Jalen
2
Ramsey.
corners right now.
Yeah, I did not think Jalen Ramsey was 26.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Oh, well, it's Jalen
Uh-oh.
Ramsey. No, it's Jalen Ramsey. No, it's Jalen Ramsey.
yeah, you already know what I'm gonna say. So do I
No,
even need to say it?
No.
No,
You
it's
said
Jalen.
J.C. Jackson. Stick with it. Stick with it.
Grow a pair.
Don't
I'm
change
getting a
it.
J.C.
Say
Jackson
JC.
jersey. Let's
Keep
go.
it now.
Jalen
Dude,
Ramsey,
get-
who?
Yeah. Who's Jalen, bro? J.C.
All right, Billy,
Blake,
go.
get your throwback red one.
Billy, who's your guy?
Oh, you already know who I'm going. I've already gotten roasted for it, but I'm gonna stand by it. And it's Jair Alexander. That is the number 1 outside corner in this league right now, and you cannot convince me otherwise. And yes,
He's
I
not.
get it. He's not against the number 1 receiver every play, but that's not his fault. He is a zone corner.
No, it is.
No,
He's a zone corner. He lines up where his defensive coordinator tells him to.
No.
and Ramsey
no, you
tells
see
his
Jalen-
defensive coordinator where he's
Yeah.
going to line up.
Well, Jalen Ramsey also
Yeah.
runs press man every play, so
Yeah, because
Listen,
he's
if
the
you're-
best corner in the league.
because that's
Listen.
how the Rams run their defense.
No.
That's not how
listen.
Green Bay runs their
No.
defense.
Dude, I promise you, if you're that good, you're on their number 1 receiver every single play, like Tre'Davious White, like Jalen Ramsey. He can go
That's
tell
not-
his. Yeah,
Also, Green Bay
yeah.
hadn't figured it out yet.
Oh, they
That's why
haven't.
Aaron Rodgers
They don't
leaving.
That's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
That secondary is horrible. I don't
Yeah,
care what
Kevin
anybody
King
says.
is
That secondary is
buns.
horrible. Everybody on it.
Hey, Richard Sherman looked pretty good in zone coverage. So did Josh
I'm
Norman.
not going to argue this. I've
Hey.
given my points, and I know I'm right.
I meant to
so
say
y'all
Josh
keep going.
Norman. I didn't mean to say. I meant to say Josh Norman
In his prime.
in zone
Good
coverage.
dog.
Then he went to Maine. And
Stiff arm.
Have we gone yet? Oh, no. I'll go.
I'm
Oh,
going.
I
You
had,
know, I'm going Tre'Davious White.
yeah,
You
I
already
got
know I'm
trade day.
doing that.
I had
Okay.
trade day.
Oh, well, I completely ruined that segment by saying bummy J.C. Jackson in comparison to Tre'Davious White, Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard. I mean, or Xavier's a little older than that.
Yeah.
I think he's the only one I like searched. So I was like, oh, the other ones aren't 26. But moving on to safety, and I have 2 names, and none of them are named Jeremy Chin, Billy. None of them are. One is my number. Shut up. One is number 1 for me. I think Minka Fitzpatrick is the best safety, maybe in the NFL. He's versatile at the free safety position. And 2 is the guy that I'm growing on. I think Jesse Bates is a superstar. I think he's just as good as Minka. They're both fast, can play very good in any zone coverage. I think both of those guys have made names for themselves at safety.
Yep.
So,
I have Minka. Out of his whole career, he's averaged, or the quarterback has averaged a 65 passer rating against him, and he's made back-to-back All-Pro teams with a new team. So I think you got to put him there.
now, I couldn't go with Minka from the heart. Can't pick a player that quits on his team, but
Say Jamal Adams.
no, I went with Jesse Bates.
Uh,
I went with Jesse Bates, but that's just because, like Blake said, he's really growing on me. The way he plays at such a young
24.
age. He plays so much older than he is. He's a really smart player, and I just really like Jesse Bates. And just another name I wanted to throw out there. I know it's gonna sound weird, Blake, but I was going through last night looking at stats and everything of just like who was playing really good at the safety. A name you don't hear a lot, he's still young, is John Johnson III. I wouldn't say he's there. He's probably 3rd best under that 26 gap.
I
But a
mean,
lot of
Marcus
people-
Williams too.
Yeah, Marcus. Well, there were 2 names that I saw. I'm like, nobody talks about them, but they had really good seasons.
Yeah, it's because the Saints defense sucks.
I think you have to go Minka, but just to throw in another name, Derwin James is 23 years old.
I,
That's what it
I
says.
just
you
couldn't
ain't
after
getting
the
that.
ACL. I just couldn't
Yeah.
after the ACL.
Yeah,
he don't play.
I know. That's
games.
why.
You can't
That's
do
why I
that.
say. That's why I said Minka. But I said just
Yeah.
I think
name.
everyone
If he stay healthy,
knows
Derwin James.
everyone knows
Uh,
Derwin's potential is out of this roof. He's just got to stay healthy, man.
I
We
don't-
get it. He
I
gets a
sh-
99 in Madden.
he's so fast and he hits like he could be like a Sean Taylor type safety. Like he hits that hard. It's just he can't stay healthy. He can't.
That's
CJ,
them
did you
Florida
wanna
State
add
boys.
No, I'm just glad none of y'all said Buda Baker.
I really want to, but the second name I had to put was Jesse Bates. That's gonna wrap up the NFL topic. Y'all have anything to add?
Negative Ghost Rider.
No. Y'all
Nope.
can watch this on Twitch every single week. Apple Music, Spotify. I haven't been uploading to that, but I'm gonna start. We're on YouTube every single week for the Zoom. Go spread it around, show it to your friends, everything. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, click the like button. We hope everyone has a good week. We'll see you next week.
Doses.